So in this tutorial we're going to quickly go over how you create new pages within your Google site. And once again, Google has made this very easy to do. So in the top right hand corner of the page you're going to see a picture of a page with a plus sign on it. And when you roll over the button, it's going to say New Page. And so when you click on that, it's going to give you the option of naming the new page that you're going to create. So we may want to call this the resources page. And because it's the resources page, we'll make it a file cabinet. And it will be one of our top levels. So you have the option of either putting it under your home or making it a top level, so it would be even with home. And you can also choose a different location for it, but at this point, because our web page only contains the home page and a site map, we're somewhat limited in terms of the pages that we can create. And so we'll click on the Create button, and now we are going to have a resources page, and similar to what we saw in the last tutorial, we're going to have the option of adding a file either by uploading it, by adding a link, and because we're the owner we can move files and delete files within our resources page. Now if we wanted to create another page on top of this, we can click on New Page, and perhaps we want to call this page our announcements page. And so we will actually go ahead and use the announcements template for this. And because we just created our resources page, it's wondering if maybe we want to create this page underneath our resources, but we will leave it as a top level, so it's going to be even in terms of where it's located with the home page and the resources page. And again, you can choose a different location for this. Now, I should have mentioned this earlier, but it does automatically assign the URL to the new page that you're creating, but you do have the option of editing the last part of that URL. And so you can go ahead and create our announcements page. And so our announcements page is now created. But what you'll notice now is that the pages that we've created are not appearing anywhere. And so there's a number of different ways to gain access to this. Essentially, if you go into More and click on Edit Site Layout, and this is where you got to choose the different locations for your buttons, and whether or not it wanted a sidebar and things like that. And so you can actually click on the horizontal navigation bar, and what you'll see is that we only have one page in here right now. And so we can add the two pages that we just created by going in and adding them individually. So we want announcements, and we also want our resources page. And so we can add those, and we can arrange them however we wanted. We could also add simply a URL to that horizontal navigation bar. So just to make things easy, if you wanted, for example, to create a link to Google, you could go ahead and have the link embedded as a button in your horizontal navigation bar. And so now, when we go back, you'll notice that all of our pages have now appeared. So we have a home, we have access to our announcements page, our resources page, and of course the link that we created to Google. Okay, so that's essentially how creating web pages within your site works. It's very easy to do. Now, just to illustrate an example of what it's going to look like when you create a page underneath another page, what we'll do is click on New Page. And so this time we'll call it 2013. So we want all of our resources for 2013 in one spot. And so this time I'm going to actually put this new page underneath the resources page that already exists. And so I can click on Create. And again, because of the way that the defaults are set up, it's automatically going to enable attachments and comments, and it's going to show the subpages. But of course we know how to change that now by going into Page Settings, and if we didn't want to allow attachments or comments, you would simply click off the appropriate checkboxes. Now, in order to get this to show in your horizontal navigation bar at the top, we can go back in to Edit Site Layout and click on Edit Horizontal Navigation Bar. And so we just created our 2013 resources site, and so you'll find the 2013 underneath the resources page, and you'll click on OK to add it. And what you can do here is actually move 2013 up and then indent it. And what that is going to do is actually tell the site that you want this to be displayed underneath resources. And so we'll click on OK, and we'll close this. And so now when I hover over resources, it's going to give me the option of clicking on 2013. And so you can do this with all of the different tabs that you have. Again, it's very customizable in terms of how you set up your website. And again, anytime that you are on a page and there's comments or subpages or things listed, you can go ahead and change the settings for that page. So this was just a very brief tutorial on how you go about creating new pages, and also how you go about nesting pages underneath the horizontal navigation bar. Now, just one last thing before I end this tutorial. Going back into Edit the Site Layout, if we decided that we didn't like how the horizontal navigation bar looked, we can get rid of it, and we can add the sidebar again. And so you'll notice that 2013 is nested under Resources. Our first post that we made in a previous tutorial is still listed under our Home section, and we have our site map. So depending on how you want your site to look, there's a number of different options in terms of the layout. There is also the option of adding a custom footer. So this may be if you wanted to include your contact information or copyright information that's going to appear on every single page of your site, this would be the place to do that. So again, thank you very much for watching, and the final tutorial in this series is going to focus specifically on managing your site through the Manage Site options.